Hi, I'm Rad Linux, and today we're going to play a little game. It's going to be called Does This Peripheral Work with Linux? And I'm going to be focusing on this IR receiver I have over here. This is a very old device, which gives us a little bit of a leg up in terms of possibilities for being compatible. But this is a little piece of my very first computer. The very first PC I ever bought was an XP Media Center Edition desktop by HP. It came with stuff like a tuning card, a TV tuning card, a copy of XP Media Center Edition, a very fancy remote, and this IR receiver. The computer and the remote are gone, lost to time, but for some reason I've been carrying around this dongle for 20 years. The other day I decided I wanted to play with it. I wanted to see why I was holding on to this, and I was kind of surprised by the results. So let's hop on over to a terminal, and let's go through some of the troubleshooting processes I went through to see if this worked, see how this worked. All right, so we're over here at the terminal, and the first step is to just kind of know what your device is. So I know that this is a USB device, and so it's going to be hopefully visible by using LS-USB. This is going to list out all our USB devices. It shows us a lot of stuff. It shows, I think, even like down to like the controller, which is can be a little bit confusing. But you can see we have all these different devices, my keyboard, my mouse, a webcam, and then also this Philips or NXP eHome infrared receiver. And this is our device. Of course, HP went and took somebody else's device, rebranded it with their own badge. So this gives us a little information, a little heads up that, if we wanted to look further into the device itself, then we can use this information. Now, another place that we might be able to see stuff is in some place called dmessage. Now, to access dmessage, you need to use sudo or basically our administrator privileges. And we're going to do sudo dmessage. And dmessage gives out a whole bunch of information. Now, you're going to have to put your password in. I've just already previously put my password in here. It gives us a bunch of different info, really all the way through like the boot process and kind of initializing all of our equipment, like our GPU and stuff. Over here, we can see that we have a new full-speed USB device. This is the eHome infrared transceiver made by Philips. It even it shows us like a serial number, the key mapping, keep that in mind. Cool. So that's like some more in-depth information. Some of this we're gonna need for later. This is a lot more, I guess, kind of in-depth, right, than just looking up LS-USB. Or you can also use like LS-PCI. There's a couple of different tools depending on what your device that you're connecting to your computer is. What do we do next? Well, I mean, the same thing that literally everybody does, right? There's really it's not too hard. We're just gonna check the internet. So, uh, it's straightforward is usually best. We're gonna do Linux and infrared. I always spell infrared wrong. The first thing that came up when I was searching this is LIRC. LIRC is some relatively old software that allows Linux to decode and send infrared signals. So it's very cool, very helpful. This Arch Wiki page. Arch Wiki is great for all distributions, even though it's not going to necessarily one-to-one match. It should give you at least some direction. But I installed LIRC, tried playing around with it, did not have a lot of success. And that's when I ran into this article. And it brought up the same issue. Basically, this person went through and installed LIRC and tried configuring everything and just was not having a good time. And they came to a revelation I should have also come to, which is that the documentation, as well as places like LIRC, ArchWiki, say that since kernel version 4.18, the kernel can decode signals from some IR controls, basically not needing LIRC at all. Perfect. So instead, we're just going to go and install something called IR key table. Now, I already have this installed. So we're going to come back over, you have to install it through your package manager. So we're going to use IR key table. We're going to do sudo IR key table. And we're going to do tact. This is going to put us into testing mode. We have our eyes on the prize here with this camera, and we can see that I have my Flipper Zero up. Let's drop into infrared. Now, this is one of the things I love about the Flipper, right? I mean, it gives us access to so many different IR codes. Actually, let's do this a little different. That we can interact with, and I think that one of the best use cases for the Flipper Zero is hardware hacking, right? So it says in test mode, I'm going to hit power on the universal remote because this is going to give us a lot of, there we go, a lot of IR signals to try and test out to see what works properly. Now, we got a hit early. That's nice for us, but that's not always guaranteed. You might have to sit here for a while. I don't know how visible it is on camera, but the actual dongle is flashing red. So we can see that it's acknowledging all of these signals, even though it is not necessarily able to decode them. So let's try a different command. Because I had basically gone through and played around and found that the only devices that would work were a couple Philips remotes. Or, I mean, I didn't test every single IR code I had available, but I tested a bunch of them. And I was really only getting Philips ones to work. But let's try TAC-T, TAC-P, and this is going to give us the protocol, and we're going to do protocol all. So let's see what we have available now. Let's see, does this Zenith TV work? No. Let's try another one. What's Watson? Aha, there we go. We have some interaction. Now I'm going to show this to you quick. You can see in our first successful attempt to get something to register, it was using RC6. The protocol is the key map that it's accepting in. The default for this device is RC6, but there are a bunch of different available protocols in our kernel, and so we can get these RC5 ones to recognize as well. Let's try a different one. I think the Vizios use NEC. Yes, NEC. There's also, I think, NECX. There's a bunch of different ones that there's not. Yeah, you would think that these things would have some kind of standardization, but of course not. NECX, there we go. So there are a bunch of different protocols that this thing can receive and interact with, which is pretty cool. So there we go, NEC again. So we're going to take a look real quick. If you just run IR key tables, or key table rather, you can see that this just gives us a bunch of information for the device. So we have the name, we have the driver we're using. This is basically a much more convenient and cleaner sort of presentation of the things that we saw in dmesg, right? But without knowing what software you needed to do this, dmesg is a quick and dirty solution for that. This also shows us the dev input that we can interact with, and the dev LIRC. So I think like LIRC is just really baked into the kernel at this point. I'm not 100% positive how this really all works. Now, if you run this as sudo, you'll just see that this doesn't seem to be supported or doesn't work. I'm not sure, 100% sure I understand what BPF is. But these are the supported kernel protocols, and this is what we unlocked by not just using TAC-T, but TAC-P, or TAC-T, TAC-P, and then all. It unlocks all these protocols. Now, the one thing I didn't successfully accomplish. I really wish I could get this to work. I want it to send. Is really what I want. I want it to send. So let's do a different one. We have IR control. We're gonna do IR control tac R, and we're gonna send it to test.ir. So if I hit that same power button again, that should register. Maybe attack V shows that, like a verbose option. But we're just gonna hope that it did in fact recognize something. We're gonna end that, and then we can send that's the information we got from that same exact file. So I want to use the flipper to learn a new remote. And let's see if this works. Something's been sent, I think. I don't know what this trailing space ignored thing is. Considering that it's writing its own file, I don't exactly understand why that would work that way. Let's actually go though to debugging. Let's back all the way out real fast. We want to go and enable debugging. No, where did it debug? Here we go. Yes, I want to debug right now. So let's see if I can go to IRC, or rather infrared, and let's go to debug RX. Received signals will appear here. Let's try sending that one more time. All right. I mean, theoretically that's supposed to be sending, but we're not getting anything. Now, I also have another test file at test, and same thing. The flipper is not recognizing any signals coming from this device. I'm also not necessarily seeing it like shoot off a red blip. So I'm not 100% positive that's working. And maybe LIRC might be helpful because the things that I see in the other devices or on the other like documentation is that they say that receiving IR is built in. Maybe transmitting isn't. I don't know. But I think that was a fun little adventure into IR, using a device like your computer to interact with infrared. You can capture infrared signals. Like I'm going to just do that test.ir file. We're going to cat it out. And it was receiving and then able to basically give us the raw infrared information. We can do a lot of fun stuff with Linux and an IR receiver, and it works. It works surprisingly well, and this is like a 20-year-old IR device. I really thought that this was proprietary, to be honest. I just assumed that it was some kind of proprietary XP nonsense. Turns out it's not. Cool. If you like this kind of content and you would like to see me do something with maybe some more elaborate peripherals, just let me know in the comments. And, I can always try out different stuff. I might not be going out and purchasing expensive equipment to test out on Linux, but, I think it's just fun to play around with some different stuff, like maybe controllers? Oops. Video game controllers that I use that still work on Linux, and troubleshooting these and seeing how they interact. I don't know. Yeah, let me know in the comments. But I'm Rad Linux, and have a good one.